del nostro film in concorso Blonde. E prima di cominciare vi presento gli ospiti al tavolo a partire dalla mia sinistra in fondo. L'attrice Julianne Nicholson, l'attore Adrien Brody, la protagonista del film Ana de Armas, il regista Dominik. I'm going to start with a question to Andrew, and then I will open to the public. Andrew, this is a project of many, many years for you. Why you felt so deeply about Marilyn Monroe's story?
I've got to press that to talk?
Yeah.
Some things just have a kind of emotional, creative energy to them. There are some things that are like, some projects you get involved in and they can kind of hold your attention for about like a year or two, but Blonde would never let me go, you know. That's why I hung on to it for years, because I would just keep having ideas for Blonde. Like even when Blonde fell apart, I'd still be thinking about Blonde. So, but it was the book. It was basically the book.
C'è una domanda qua.
Sorry, this is Phoenix New Media from China. Ana de Armas. In your opinion, which character you play in this film is Norma Jean or Marilyn Monroe, and how did you make this balance between different characters of these two parts? Thank you.
Well, I think for the most I think for the most part, most of the movie, it's Norma Jean is more present. I think this is a story about her, and then of course Marilyn Monroe takes over a few times. I mean, she's also present. I mean, it's the same person. She's present as well in the film, and the balance of playing both, I think. I don't know. I think they both fitted each other. They needed each other. I don't know.
Was it difficult to switch in between the two persons?
I don't think I didn't approach it in the sense of like switching back and forth. I think it was the same person. It was just. Yeah, it was just this. I think I'm so nervous. I'm sorry. This is so hard to explain because I think the process was. I was just connected to both of them emotionally at all times, and it wasn't a conscious decision when it was going to be more Marilyn or more Norma. It would just happen. Yeah. But yes, it was, everything was difficult.
Yeah, there's a question here.
Good morning, I'm Alessandra Tommasi from the newspaper, the Italian newspaper from Italy, Leggo. And my question is to Mr. Brody. I'm over there, sir.
Where are you?
Hi.
Sorry.
Hi. Since Marilyn is such an iconic figure of the she represents the women in so many levels. She's so deep. I was wondering, from a man perspective, what's your opinion of why she's such an iconic, and why do you still need this kind of model for the feminine universe?
I think a movie like this, first of all, and storytelling that is as brave as this is essential for many reasons. Right? We've witnessed a lot of awareness of the struggle that women have faced for a great deal of time. And I've always had a soft spot for Marilyn Monroe, partially because I'm very aware of the great divide between all this public adulation and respect and acknowledgement that is so far from who she is, and that doesn't reach her and doesn't quench her burning desire to be creative and to be fulfilled with the work and to be appreciated for a caliber of work that she always strived for, which is something that on various levels is something that many actors feel. There's a disconnect. But in her case, as you mentioned, she's one of the most enduring, iconic figures. And the fact that she is so revered and so loved by men and women alike, and yet her inner struggle and her sadness and all the unresolved traumatic moments in her life never left her it's almost criminal to me. And so I have always been drawn to that aspect of this, and I think we're very fortunate to have someone like Andrew and Anna who are able to pour in their artistic sensibilities to represent something that I feel is lost upon most people. And this perspective of being inside of her is such a gift to us, and was such a privilege for me to be a small part of, to help bring out. It's just, it's very meaningful, and I think it's going to be, it's good for her legacy, and it's good for us as a community.
Giulianne Mandela.
Thank you so much. A few of us actually just ran over from the most recent screening, so I've never asked the question, having in the process of still processing the film itself. So just two rather quick questions. For Mr. Armas, piggybacking on this distinction between Marilyn and Norma Jean, when Marilyn is such an iconic and known figure, and Norma Jean we have so little documentation of, as far as I understand, what was your source material and research and how to understand who that person was? Because you did such an amazing job of playing both parts. I saw someone that I had never even imagined what she was like behind that veneer. So what was your source material? How did you do that? And for Mr. Dominik, probably the most brave thing in the film in terms of narrative was the inclusion of an unborn child. I would love to just hear a little bit about that choice and yeah, where that came from, whether that was from a book or... Thank you.
You want to go first? Okay.
Well, this was a very immersive, long process of, preparation and understanding. I wasn't very aware of Marilyn, and her, I was familiar with some of her movies and stuff, but for me it was a huge discovery and learning process. Starting with the book and of course the script and working with Andrew for months, just learning about her, getting to know her, and of course the majority of the film is about the moments that we don't know, the intimate moments, the very personal ones that are not on camera, when the cameras were not rolling. So of course, despite being a very specific character, and we wanted to be very detailed and honor her in the recreations and the moments where she was Marilyn, I also had a lot of room to create this other, the real woman underneath that character. So it was, again, I always go back to saying it was about understanding and empathizing and connecting with her and her pain and her trauma. And if you put aside the movie star that she was, she's just a woman just like me, same age, also an actress in the industry. It was a project that I knew I had to let myself open and go to places that I knew were going to be uncomfortable and dark and vulnerable. but you know, I think that's where I found the connection with this person, you know, who she was. But a lot of that was just talking to Andrew through the scenes and just, you know, I just wanted to find her truth, emotional truth. Yeah.
Okay. Baby's in the movie because Baby's in the book, and Baby's in the movie because Baby is real to her, right? Baby is a real thing. And I think for a person, an unwanted child, having a pregnancy is a deeply confronting thing. It's, she's got a great deal of ambivalence about it. On the one hand, she wants to have Baby, right? Because Baby can help her rescue her from her own trauma, you know, her own traumatic childhood. And we know this in the film because she tries to save Baby from the very drawer that she was locked in as a baby herself. Okay. So she feels like it's going to fix some ancient problem. On the other hand, her experience of motherhood is her own mother, right? And her mother's story is that having a child destroyed her life. She was abandoned, she went insane, and she became incredibly violent. So from Norma's point of view, being pregnant is difficult. Do you know what I'm saying? She's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't. And in many ways in the film, when her life becomes unstable, her childhood reappears, her origin story reappears, you know. And Baby's necessary for that reason.
This begs for a follow-up question to Julianne, who is playing Marilyn's, Norma Jean's mother in the film. And it's a character we didn't know much about. And I'd like for her to see how she discovered it and created this character.
First of all, I'd like Adrien to answer this for me. I thought you answered that so beautifully before when she asked you about that earlier question. For me, it all started in the book, in the script and the book also. It's much of it is just there. And then talking with Andrew, you know, I knew there's not much out there about her, but I did know the facts of, you know, her mental health and being abandoned and being a single mother at that time. There's a lot of shame around that, as well as her mental state. And it was just trying to find a version of that. Mental health looks different on everyone. Hers was not diagnosed because people didn't care. People didn't pay attention at that time to people who suffered in this way. Luckily, they do now, and with more films like this, hopefully it still broadens the conversation, actually, because it's very important. Mental health is just as important, if not more so, than any physical health that you need to take care of. But it was an act of reading the script, reading the book, and talking with Andrew, and imagination.
Oh, okay.
I'm David Martos from Spain. I would like to make a question to Ana in Spanish, if it's possible. Ana, ¿qué has aprendido de tu carrera como actriz y de esta industria al hacer esta inmersión en el personaje de Marilyn Monroe? Gracias.
¿Qué he aprendido? He aprendido, yo creo que un poco tener más empatía y respeto por actores que se encuentran en una situación que viven bajo tanta presión de los medios y el daño que eso puede causar a alguien. Creo que no somos, nadie está preparado para vivir bajo esa presión y expectativas y lo que se supone que debes hacer y quién se supone que debería hacer cuando la gente proyecta en ti lo que ellos quieren. Y he aprendido quizás un poco a entender más eso y a aprender para mí misma a protegerme mejor también de tratar de evitar ponerme yo misma en esa situación. y aprendí que Marilyn era extremadamente fuerte y intentó hacer lo mejor que pudo.
La signora.
Hi, this is Aniko Navari, Hollywood Foreign Press. This is a double question for Andrew and Anna. Andrew, I'm sure you looked at a lot of actresses, and I would like to ask you about Anna and why you ended up with her. And Anna, I would like to ask you about your experience getting into the audition process, and what did you do? What did you have to do to get the part? Thank you.
I saw Anna in a movie called Knock Knock, and I thought that girl could be Marilyn Monroe. She looked like her, and she was compelling. You know, like when she was on screen, she was all you wanted to watch. And I spoke to Josh, and it took him like 2 years to set it up, right? And I met her, and we had a conversation, and then she came and read for it. And it was like take 3. I knew it was her. I mean, I actually knew it was her as soon as I saw her on TV. It's a little bit like Love at First Sight. When the right person walks through the door, you know it. Sometimes it takes a minute to sort of sort through the difficulties that person might bring with them, but you always kind of know.
The audition process, well, that first time that I met with Andrew, he asked me how long did I needed to prepare for the audition. Is the scene that I play with Bobby at the restaurant, the first date. And I told him like about a week or so. Yeah. And I did that on my own, of course. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't preparing for the accent, the voice. I kind of like put some makeup together, and we found a horrible blonde wig. But just to have the sense of a, you know, this, because I was, you know, my hair is very dark, and I wanted to be as close as possible as to her as you know, as I could. Not for Andrew, I think more for other people that were going to watch that audition. And we did that, and that went well, apparently. And then that was not the only audition I had to do. It was a long process of more, you know, tests and with wardrobe, with different cameras and lenses and different, again, the same scene. And then the coach, the voice coach, got involved, and, you know, everything escalated, and we just made it better and better and better until everyone was convinced.
The film kind of came alive when we found her. And I think once we did the bigger screen test, like anyone could see, anyone with eyes could see that it was a good idea.
Signore qua.
Hi, my question is for all of you. What was your biggest challenge making this movie? Thank you.
Raising the money.
I think we all share that one because, I mean, at least I do, because I was, you know, for a whole year, that's nothing compared to 11 years for him. But that 1 year was very stressful, and Andrew told me that at the beginning, like, you need to be ready to be heartbroken because anything can happen. I've been, you know, through this for many years, and you never know. And it did happen. We got, you know, heartbroken a couple times before we started shooting. I think that, but, you know, for me, just taking on this character, you know, learning, I just knew, I knew right away that I had a lot of work to do, which was the exciting part for me, the challenge. And just, you know, connecting all of this in my mind and just then let go of it and show up on set and do it and trust myself and trust him. Yeah, just trying to figure out how I was gonna pull this off. Yeah.
Which you did remarkably. I mean, I can't think of any other person who could have brought what Anna brought to this role. And I've said this many times that the first day of filming, I went home with this sense of awe that I had the privilege of actually working with Marilyn Monroe. And it's not that I'm jaded, but I've been working for many years. I've worked my entire lifetime, and it's very rare that I can say that someone transported me to another time and place. So Anna's definitely channeled her, and I guess the challenge for me, all roles should be challenging. That's why we do it. This is very complex storytelling, and I have a responsibility to honor several aspects. I have to honor a beautiful best-selling novel by Joyce Carol Oates and wonderful source material. I have to honor my filmmaker and his vision in adapting that story and where my character fits in within that storytelling. And I have to honor the character that I'm portraying, which in this case is a fictionalized interpretation of a man who actually had a marriage and an intimate relationship with Marilyn Monroe. And I believe there are complexities within that relationship and dynamic that I strive to honor. And it's a journey. And but I loved this experience, and I loved finding that with Andrew, and I just loved all the nuances in every aspect. I'm kind of in awe of this whole experience and the artistry that went into it, and all of Anna's sensitivity, which brought out so much for me, and Andrew's understanding of honoring all of these aspects and giving actors space to find that and creating that safe place. And I'm very excited about today. So.
Making this movie was also a very special experience for me, and I also agree the challenging roles are the exciting roles. That's why we do it. It's what brings me happiness. Inhabiting this woman was uncomfortable, to sort of feel that fury and grief and trauma in her life. But I'll just say, practically speaking, I had never driven a stick before. And so that car was from 1934. And we were in the middle of the night with all that smoke. And like the next day, my arms were burning because I had to do that sort of like 7-point turn, like 30 times, and it took a lot of muscle work, and just being able to maneuver that car was challenging.
It's like acting and chewing gum is like learn how to drive a stick shift for the first time and act and be present. It's really hard.
But it was kind of great because I was horrified when I watched the movie and I saw what we were driving through with Lily in the seat with me. I thought, oh my God, they're crazy.
Yeah, less said about that, the better.
Yeah, okay. No, she was not in when there was anything wrong at all. Her safety was always at the top priority. Movie magic.
Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Claudio Gargano. I write for Nocturno. I have one question for Andrew Dominik and one question for Ana de Armas, if it's possible. Andrew, in the latest part of the movie, I recognize echoes from David Lynch, Twin Peaks, with that dreamy music that makes me think of Laura Palmer as Marilyn as Laura Palmer and as fate of autodestruction. Were you conscious of that? Was that intentional? And Ana de Armas, you were great in evoking both Norma Jean and Marilyn. Did you keep the right distance from the ghost of Marilyn to protect yourself? And what blonde left inside of you as work?
What did you say about a ghost? What?
Ghost of Marilyn.
Yeah.
What did you do to kind of protect yourself in that, and how did you keep a safe distance?
We were kind of chasing her ghost around. We started shooting the movie on August 4th, which was the anniversary of her death, and it was not planned. We had a little, dust up in pre-production. We had to push it back a week, and it so happened that the first day of shooting was the day that she died. It was the anniversary of the day that she died. It was not planned. And I think I only realised it the day before or something like that. And when we were shooting that first day, we were shooting in the very apartment that she lived in with her mother. The apartment that you see in the movie that they're in is the actual house, and the room she dies in is the room she died in, and her dust is everywhere in Los Angeles, and it definitely sort of took on elements of being like a seance, which this sort of insistence on what was the question you asked me? The question, David Lynch. Yeah, well, I think Blonde fits into a kind of long tradition of female anxiety films. Do you know what I mean? I mean, David Lynch makes women in trouble movies, and Hitchcock did so before him, films like Marnie and films like Suspicion. But the music is not, it's not a conscious kind of homage to David Lynch or anything like that. I love David Lynch. I've got no problem with David Lynch, but yeah. So no is the answer.
I'll continue with Andrew's answer about Marilyn's presence. I feel like, so many things happened to us, to all of us during the shoot. It was very interesting. I truly believe that she was very close to us. She was with us. I feel like all of us feel so much respect and responsibility to do good to her and to honor her. Not just the cast and Andrew, of course, but the entire crew. I feel like everyone knew that we were doing something we were in her service in a way, like we were doing something bigger than us, like something more special than just a film about her. She was all I thought about. She was all I dreamed about. She was all I could talk about. She was with me, and it was beautiful. I think she was happy, but she would also throw things off the wall sometimes and get mad when she didn't like something. And this is true. These things happened, and being in the same places that she was, filming in her house, it was just, it just felt it was a very strong sensation. There was something in the air, and I think she was approving of what we were doing. Maybe this sounds like very, I don't know, mystical or something, but it's true. I think we all felt it, and you know, it wasn't something that I was in character all the time. I wasn't going home and being in character even in between takes or in my lunch break, but I was, I felt that I was living that. I felt that heaviness and that weight in my shoulders, and I felt that sadness, and you know, that was hard to shake off. And I don't think I wanted either, you know, I just let that happen to me and accepted it and used it. So, you know, I didn't want to protect myself from that. It was important that I experience all of it.
I think we have time only for one, unfortunately. And
Sono qui, Giulia Bianconi del Tempo. Volevo chiedere a Ana de Armas, c'è una scena del film in cui guarda il cielo e dice che ogni stella è sola. Allora lei è una delle nuove stelle del cinema e volevo chiederle se ci sono momenti in cui si sente sola. E visto che rappresenta un personaggio iconico, quello di Marilyn, che tipo di, che cosa si aspetta come reazioni del pubblico e dei fan, e se le critiche la spaventano? Grazie.
I think I was late a little bit to the beginning of your question, but I guess I got it all. I did this movie to push myself, because I thought it was a gift to myself. Didn't do the movie to make other people change their opinion about me. So whatever happens, it's the experience I take with me, and this movie changed my life. So it'll be what it'll be.
I think unfortunately we have to finish here. I run out of time. Thank you to our guests, and thank you for the film.
Thank you.